Nashville's demand for our luxury real estate market has continued to grow over the last several years. So which community is the best fit for you? Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin Martin and I'm a local Nashville real estate agent, founder of the Caitlin Martin team, powered by Weikert Realtors, the Andrews Group. We specialize in helping out-of-staters looking to relocate to the Middle Tennessee area. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about several different luxury communities in and around the Nashville area. Like I said, since 2021, we have really seen the demand for our luxury market continue to grow. As folks were able to start working remotely, Tennessee, the Middle Tennessee area in particular, became a really popular relocation destination, especially when folks were able to start working more remote. Plus, and the fact that Tennessee has no state income tax, it actually has low property taxes, and it's the third least taxed state in the entire US. That's part of the reason why people continue to make the move here, because it just makes sense financially. So where are some of these luxury communities? We're gonna go ahead and dive on in. So as we talk about these, I'm gonna be giving you visuals of where they are. Now, just a couple of things to know. We're gonna be talking about communities primarily in Davidson and Williamson County. So Davidson County is gonna be the county that encompasses downtown Nashville and its surrounding communities. And then Williamson County is the county right below it. That's where you're going to find places like Brentwood, Franklin, Nolensville, areas like that. So let's go ahead and jump on in. So first up, we're going to talk about Belle Meade. It is the epitome of luxury in Davidson County. Belle Meade is going to be located just west of downtown Nashville, and it's actually going to be right next to a community that we're also going to talk about called Green Hills. Belle Meade is one of those that in that area, you're going to find the homes, they really kind of range. It's going to be from these really charming, idyllic cottages all the way up to these more European inspired beautiful mansions. So you really kind of have a little bit of a range in style in the Belle Meade area, but truly, if you think about Belle Meade is going to be one of those that it carries more esteem to it. It really is considered truly like old Nashville money. But Belle Meade is one of those where you can find some new construction options where they've gone in, maybe torn down one of the smaller homes and then they've put up a beautiful new one. But a lot of times you're going to find beautiful established homes within the Belle Meade community. Now, a couple of things to know, and this is going to be true no matter which community we talk about when it comes to Davidson County, if we're talking about pros and cons. When it comes to what can be seen as the negative for any of these luxury communities in the Davidson County area, the biggest drawbacks are twofold. So typically, first is going to be the public rated school scores that these areas are zoned for. Now, if you're considering private school, or you know that private school is the route that you want to go, then that in essence can kind of remove that one detractor when it comes to homes and communities within certain parts of Davidson County. Now, when it comes to Davidson County, we're going to be talking about a couple of these communities, not just Belle Meade. But when we're looking at what the pros and the cons are of these areas, the same across the board is going to be true for the most part in all Davidson County. The cons can be seen as twofold. So one is the fact that typically the schools that these areas are zoned for, the public schools, you're going to find that they have lower rated public school scores when you go on greatschools.org. So if schools are important to you and if you're considering public school, then that is something to consider. Now, if you know you want to go the private school route, then that's going to be less of something to consider, because you know, you already know. And what we've seen typically is folks that are choosing to live within the Davidson County communities, especially the luxury communities, more often than not, they actually end up opting for private school. That way they get to enjoy all the benefits there are of these communities. Then the second detractor can be the fact that it's in Davidson County, which means you will have higher property taxes. Now, overall, if you were looking at the overall rate of the Middle Tennessee area, even Davidson County. It did have a 34% property tax hike a couple of years ago, which was in response to COVID, and then the Nashville tornado that went through back in March of 2020. Nashville kind of got a double whammy when it comes to March of 2020. But we had that. And so in response to that, they did raise the property taxes 34%. However, if you were looking across the national average, the property taxes are still considerably lower than anywhere that you're most likely moving from, especially from the areas that we see the most amount of relocation from, being New York, Chicago, and California. So that is something to consider, is that the property taxes will be a little bit higher than Williamson County. But again, those tend to be the two biggest detractors, I would say, or things that people really take into consideration when making their decision of where they want to live. So those are a couple of things to know. But then some of the pros of Belle Meade, it really is a stunning community. One thing that you do need to keep in mind, if you have come in town and you're exploring Belle Meade, please, please, please follow the speed limit signs. Belle Meade does have its own police force, and they are sticklers when it comes to the speed limits. So please, please, please follow the speed limit, because they are not afraid to pull you over. So that's something to keep in mind. But other than that, Belle Meade is a beautiful community. It is close to Percy Warner Park, which people love to go and enjoy. You are also very close to Cheekwood, which is our botanical gardens that you can enjoy year round. During fall, they decorate with pumpkins for the fall season, and then they decorate the lights for Christmas. So it's a really great community. Plus, you have the really easy access to getting in and around to all that Nashville has to offer. If you're going downtown for maybe a hockey game, a football game, going to enjoy one of the new restaurants, the shopping, everything is very close in the Belle Meade community. So you've got a lot of convenience being in that area. So that's one of the reasons why people love living there. Now, a couple of things to know. I know we mentioned schools, but there are actually a couple of private schools located within the Belle Meade area. Okay, so you're gonna have Harding Academy, which is pre-K through 8th grade. Then you have Harpeth Hall, which is going to be 5th grade through 12th grade, and it's girls only. Then you do have Montgomery Bell, which is boys only, and that's gonna be 7th grade through 12. And then you do have the lower middle school campus for Innsworth. So those are a couple of things to keep in mind. Fun fact, Reese Witherspoon's from Nashville, and she actually went to Harding Academy and Harpeth Hall. So just a little fun fact there. But again, overall, Belle Meade, there's a lot of things to love about living there. Typically, the price point in Belle Meade is gonna be at 1.5 and go all the way up to 14 million. But then most of the homes are gonna really fall between that 1.85 million up to 5 million. So that's going to be your most common price range. But of course, you can get some homes on obviously either end of that spectrum. Okay, up next is going to be Green Hills. I actually personally lived in Green Hills for 4 years, and I absolutely loved it. So if you've done any research about the area, Green Hills is going to be known because it has the Green Hills Mall. This is going to be our luxury mall in the Middle Tennessee area, where you have many high-end designer stores within this mall. Then of course you still have stores like Nordstrom and Dillard's, several others. So the Green Hills Mall, very popular. It's also where our Restoration Hardware store is as well. People love to go to the cafe. It's absolutely beautiful there. But because it has the mall, you are going to deal typically with a lot of traffic around the mall. So when you're looking at Green Hills, it's Hillsborough Pike that runs right down the middle of it. It is your main road that connects you to get up to Interstate 440 to get around Nashville. It can at times, especially around the holidays, Hillsborough Pike can get very, very congested. However, if you live in Green Hills, you end up learning back roads as other means to get around, so you're not necessarily having to always be stuck in that traffic. Now in Green Hills, you're going to have several different types of luxury properties. So you have what they call HPRs, which a lot of people know them as the tall and skinnies, and you can have them attached or detached. And what an HPR is, it's horizontal property regime, and it means that two properties are actually located on one lot. And we saw a lot of this development, you know, about a decade ago when Nashville started to be the popular relocation destination. We started to see a lot of overbuild start to happen, but you can get great luxury HPRs. And so with that, you know, one of the pros of that is that if you don't want to deal with a lot of yard maintenance, you're not going to have a ton, but you still get the benefits of having a beautiful property with all the close, easy convenience that Green Hill has to offer. Now, not only do you have that, you also do have single family homes. Some of these are going to be established and existing for several years that have been renovated and updated, and sometimes they can sit on a little bit bigger of a lot. Now, Green Hills is one of those that it's going to be a little bit more rare to find the bigger lot. You're typically going to be looking around 1/4 of an acre, but you can have some wiggle room just depending on where in Green Hills you are. Or the other thing that we've seen happen a lot in Green Hills recently is where they've taken one of those bigger lots, they've taken down the old existing home on it, and then they've built a big, beautiful, gorgeous home on that lot. So we are starting to see a lot of that happen in the Green Hills area. And again, you know, when we're looking at Green Hills, if you're looking at what are detractors, one would be traffic that you deal with, but again, you can learn ways around it. The other would be the fact, again, the schools that you're typically zoned for in Green Hills are going to have lower rated school scores for public schools. And then of course, you know, you're still in Davidson County, so you do deal with that little bit of a higher property tax. But again, I absolutely loved Green Hills for the convenience. You also have so much right there. In addition to the mall, you've got these great grocery stores within Green Hills. You're also going to have a Trader Joe's and a Whole Foods if grocery stores are important, so you do have those. Plus, it's still great, easy access to getting into downtown Nashville for getting to enjoy, you know, all that Nashville has to offer. And then when it comes to price point within the Green Hills area, you can get in for a little under $1 million sometimes, but typically you're going to be looking more around that 1.2, and then it can certainly scale up to 4 or 5 million, just depending on what it is that you're looking for. Then we're going to kind of stay in that general area where Belle Meade is and where Green Hills is, and then just below Green Hills is where you're going to find Forest Hills. This is another personal favorite of mine. Forest Hills is one of these luxury communities that actually sits amongst our rolling hills here in Middle Tennessee, and Forest Hills is where you can tend to get those larger lots. Now, sometimes it's going to be an established neighborhood, sometimes it's more of just a series of lots with these established homes on it. But you typically are getting that more remote feel because the lots are bigger, but yet you are right there with close, easy convenience to Green Hills. You know, Forest Hills, again, is one of those where you can certainly have homes that are going to be renovated, that are going to be established, have been here a while, but at the same time, just kind of like what we're seeing in Green Hills, there also has been this wave of new homes coming in where they've, again, taken down the old home and put up a beautiful new construction. So again, with the Forest Hills, you know, you're going to feel more, like I said, a little bit more removed. You're going to have a lot of mature, established trees. So you've got, you know, kind of that, you know, it's not like a new community where they bulldoze all the trees down and you know, it can feel bare. You're very much, again, like I said, amongst the rolling hills. You can get homes that have beautiful views of the Nashville skyline, which is really special. So you have this great opportunity within Forest Hills. Now, when it comes to price point in the Forest Hills area, you're really going to be looking in the low 1 million as kind of the entry price point, and then it does scale up to over 5, 6, 7, 8 million sometimes, just depending on what you're getting. But typically we see the biggest range right between that 1.5, 1.7 up to about 5 million. And then of course, like I mentioned with Green Hills, Belle Meade, you're dealing with the same thing in terms of property taxes and schools typically, just, you know, because it's in Davidson County. So now that we've talked about our Davidson County communities, let's take a look at our Williamson County communities. So up first is going to be Brentwood. Now, Brentwood is one of those that it's going to be located just about 15 minutes south of downtown Nashville. So again, it's still not too far away by any means, but Brentwood is one where they took farmland back in like the 1970s and they really developed it into these established neighborhoods. So in Brentwood, you're going to get more of that true traditional established neighborhood feel. Now, Brentwood is one that it can kind of run the gamut in terms of what you want if you're looking in the luxury price point. So in Brentwood, you can get into many communities around the 1 to 1.2, 1.3 range. And then of course, now they have started in recent years adding in higher end luxury communities where prices are going to start more in the 2.5 to 3 or 4 million range. So, you know, a couple of those newer neighborhoods would be ones like Rosebrook, Prim Springs, you know, Traditions. So you have several communities and they continue to build in Brentwood. Now, when it comes to schools, you will find typically that they're going to be higher rated if you go look at greatschools.org. And so that is one of the appeals for Brentwood, is the fact that if you want to have the option for public school, you do typically have higher rated public school scores within Brentwood and Williamson County in general. But you also have the nice, close, easy convenience of Brentwood to get up into Nashville if you want to. You know, again, one thing that I hear a lot of folks talk about is the importance of grocery stores. So things like they want a Whole Foods or a Trader Joe's. So in Brentwood, your closest locations will either be Green Hills or those locations in Franklin, and you're gonna be about equal distance to the two. So you're kind of right in the middle of both. And Brentwood, again, it's really going to lend itself to that traditional neighborhood feel for the most part. And again, within Brentwood, because it has been more established, even the communities that are newer, they've really made it a point because they do have strict building standards and codes that they want to adhere to, because they really don't want to lose, you know, what makes Brentwood special. You're going to find there's still a lot of those mature existing trees. So you definitely, you know, don't feel like they've just come in and bulldozed everything. They're really, really conscious of making sure that they preserve the areas, especially when they're building new communities, you know, preserving green space, preserving trees. You know, one of the things that people ask me a lot when they're trying to decide is, you know, everybody seems to want to be in Brentwood or Franklin. Is it going to get overbuilt? Well, back in, I believe it was January 2021, they put into place a new rule that any new building, if it was going to be built in what is currently considered unrestricted land, then it has to be one house per 5 acres. So you can't take, you can't, essentially you can't be overbuilt. You know, it has to be one house per 5 acres. And so, you know, that is part of their efforts to make sure that while we still continue to grow, we don't become overbuilt and lose what has made this area special. You know, and again, in Brentwood, just know you can kind of find a little bit of everything when it comes to housing, you know, single family homes. If you're wanting maybe more of that true older feel of a home, we've got many established communities where you've got beautiful homes, and at the same time, they are continuing to add newer communities. So you do have more of that updated, new, modern, new construction feel as well. All right, up next, we're gonna talk about Franklin. So Franklin, one of the appeals for folks when they are trying to decide where they wanna move, people love Franklin because of downtown Franklin. It truly feels like you step into a Hallmark movie just because of the charm of downtown Franklin. People wanna be near it. They enjoy making that a part of their lifestyle when they live in Franklin. You know, in Franklin, you are going to have the Cool Springs Mall, which is great because that offers you a great shopping area. And it's not just the mall. I mean, all around that Cool Springs area, you're going to find everything that you could need, from furniture stores to home improvement stores to banks, pharmacies, grocery stores, restaurant, shopping, everything is right there. And then, like I mentioned, in Franklin, you're also going to have the grocery stores like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's that I know a lot of people want to have close, convenient access to. So in Franklin, We've really watched Franklin expand over the last couple of years because the demand has been great from folks moving from out of state. And so in Franklin, you know, where the average sales price point used to be around $500,000 back in 2020, we've really watched it go up to over $1 million. So in Franklin, you've got a great opportunity for a lower price point in terms of entry. So if you're looking at luxury, you really have the opportunity to get in around $800,000 to $850,000. And then of course that's going to scale up over $1 million. And then they do have other luxury communities within Franklin, certainly where, you know, you're going to eclipse over 2. But in Franklin, you know, whereas you can talk about these other communities where you can see very healthy price points, whereas in Franklin, you have more of that opportunity because a lot of their luxury price points are going to be around that 1 to 1.5 for the most part. And in Franklin, you know, when you're looking at the map, most of Franklin's going to live actually on the west side of 65. There is a portion of it that does come over across 65 onto the east side. But again, Franklin, there's a lot to love. You kind of like when we're talking about the Forest Hills and the Green Hills in terms of the close, easy access, that's what Franklin offers. Now, it's not to say that Brentwood doesn't have it, because again, Brentwood is a great, easy access getting into Nashville, having access to, you know, Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. And Brentwood does have the Hill Center, which has some shops and restaurants. But if you're thinking about like a traditional mall or like a downtown area, Brentwood doesn't have that. And so you're either going to be going up into Green Hills or going into Cool Springs, and neither one's a bad drive, but it's just something to consider. And then up next, we're going to talk about College Grove. So College Grove is going to be located down Interstate 65 off of 840. So if we're taking a look at College Grove, it is going to be most known for its 2 luxury gated communities. If you want that true gated lifestyle, these are the 2 communities to consider. You first have the Grove, which is a golf course community. This has been established for several years now. It's been being built over the last like 10, 15 years. It has so much to offer in terms of all of its amenities. It's clubhouse, it's got a spa, restaurants, it's got several courts for pickleball, tennis, multiple pools. It's got its own restaurants on site. There's a lot to offer in the Grove. It is a fantastic community. And in fact, the Grove actually hosted the Live Golf Tournament this past summer. Lot to love out there at the Grove. And it's one that's super close, easy access to getting on 840 and then getting, you know, up into Franklin if you want to. The other luxury community is going to be called Troubadour. This is going to be a newer community. To me, Troubadour has more of a West Coast feel to it, especially with its home style that tends to be in there. Now, if you're looking at the Grove, your entry price point, it's going to be really hard to get into the Grove under $2 million. And then the Grove really ranges from about $2 million up to more than $11 million. You really run the gamut there, but great homes. And in the Grove, you still have, they're in their final phase of selling lots. So if you want to build, there is that opportunity within the Grove. At Troubadour, you're going to find Troubadour, they are in the process of building out all of their amenities that'll include a spa, pools, all of that. I mean, they've got so much to offer, especially for kids. You know, they've got an archery area, they've got different courts to play sports on. There's a lot happening out at Troubadour. It is a beautiful community, but Troubadour is going to start at the $4 million price point and go up from there. So those are a couple of things to keep in mind, but they are both truly luxury gated lifestyle communities. The only thing about Troubadour is you're going to be a little bit further into College Grove than you are at the Grove, so it's going to be a little bit more to get up to 840 and get around. But at the same time, if you're looking to be a little bit further removed from Nashville, it's a great opportunity. Now, if we're looking at what could be possible detractors for these communities or in College Grove in general, it's going to be just a little bit further out. So you're looking at being about 15, 20, 25 minutes to get up into Franklin and do all of the things that Franklin has to offer, from Cool Springs to downtown Franklin. Your closest grocery store is going to be in Berry Farms, which is in the south part of Franklin, and that's going to be about 13, 14 minutes away from the Grove and a little bit further from Troubadour. However, if you are a resident at Troubadour, you actually have a concierge service available to you. So you do have the ability to use the concierge service to do your grocery shopping for you. So those are a couple of things to keep in mind. If you are wanting a community, even though there are food options within both of these communities, if you are wanting to be closer to restaurant shopping, all of those things, just know in College Grove, you're going to be a little bit further removed. Now you can get into College Grove for, in the low 1 to 1.5 up to 2 million. That's going to be in a neighborhood called McDaniel's Farms. Now that's not a gated community, but it is a really nice newer community. So that is an option if maybe you like the idea of being more remote, because in College Grove, you're really set amongst the rolling hills. You definitely have more of that serene, peaceful, feeling removed, type of feeling. But if one of the things that I've heard folks say that would be a detractor for them is just the fact that they're going to be a little bit further away. And if you're taking the airport into consideration in College Grove, you're going to be about 35, 40 minutes away from the Nashville airport. And then the last community that we are going to talk about today is going to be Arrington. So Arrington is going to be close to College Grove, but it's just going to be on the north side of 840 versus College Grove being on the south side. Arrington is going to be most known for our Little Arrington Vineyards that was started by Kix Brooks of Brooks and Dunn. So that's something to keep in mind. But Arrington is a community where it's just this smaller town. You definitely are going to feel more remote within Arrington. It's definitely not been overbuilt by any means. You do have some established communities, a couple of newer communities like Hardiman Springs. You also do have a gated community called King's Chapel. Now it's not going to be as decked out as the gated communities of like the Grove and Troubadour, but King's Chapel is a nice gated community with neighborhood pools, and it's not going to be that far removed from Franklin. Again, you're looking around that like 13 to 15 minute range from getting to a grocery store. But if you are looking for that more like peaceful, removed feeling, Arrington is great. And Arrington is typically going to range from around that like 1.2 to 1.4, and then it's going to go up to about 2.5. So that's another community to consider. Again, if you're looking at Arrington and College Grove, they're going to kind of fall into the same category just because they are both going to be a little bit more removed from the daily conveniences. But there are people that are really looking for that. And so that's why Arrington can be really popular. Now, Arrington also has a couple of other communities that are you have the ability to get in for a little less than $1 million. And one of those would be Pine Creek. And that's actually going to be located just over 840 from where Arrington Vineyards is. So that's a newer community if you're interested in the Arrington area. So again, these are just a couple of the communities. So really when you're looking at the luxury communities between Davidson County and Williamson County, just know that's not it. Those aren't the only ones, but those are going to be the most predominant luxury communities within the Middle Tennessee area. If you are looking for like luxury lake life, there is that opportunity on Old Hickory. Murfreesboro also has its own portion of luxury homes. But if we're looking at where we tend to see most people purchase, it's going to be between Davidson County and Williamson County. And again, we've kind of walked through already what the pros and cons are of each, and it really just comes down to what's the best fit for you, your lifestyle, what it is that you're looking for. Now, if you're thinking about making a move to the Middle Tennessee area, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. All of my contact information is below. Again, my name is Caitlin Martin. I'll see you next time.